Hello and welcome to this World Anvil video. Today we're looking at the template settlement. Anything from the tiniest of villages to the most bustling of space-hurled gigantic space stations. Well, there you go. Everything and anything that has to do with settlements. Now, settlements arguably are going to be the hub around which a lot of your fiction, a lot of your narrative is going to center. So it makes sense for you to focus on settlements. But where do you start? What do you focus on? Well, of course, World Anvil's templates have got all sorts of wonderful things for you to add in, such as the location type. Is it a slum, a military camp, an outpost, an arcology? Is it a metropolis? Is it a conurbation? What a wonderful word. Is it a national territory? All sorts of fantastic words that you're going to have to go and look up the meaning of. Some of them I certainly had to myself. And that inspired me to start to create. Now, hopefully you have started with a map, and on that map you have one by town, village, metropolis, space station, whatever the case might be. Now you need to start filling it in. And this is where you're going to do it. This template has got everything. What do the inhabitants call themselves? Inhabitants demonym. My favorite discovered word of 2018 is a demonym. What do they call themselves? Are they Londoners? Are they New Yorkers? Are they Durbanites? What do they call themselves? Why is that important? Local flavor. That's why it's important. So, unlike all of the other templates where there's often a way to inspire yourself, here it's about filling in those details. But what I usually do is I imagine myself in that city. I imagine what the streets look like. What does it smell like when I walk down that alleyway? Tokyo smells very different from New York, which smells very different from Los Angeles, which smells very different from Johannesburg, very different from Helsinki. All of these cities have got a very different feel to them. And it's basically by closing your eyes, walking down those streets and thinking and hearing what sounds, what sights do you see, and then of course filling in the details. So another exercise that I like to do is I like to look at, why is that city there? That city is at the confluence of two rivers. That city is on the edge of a nebula. That city happens to be right in the middle of a trading lane that runs from west to east. And that's a major way station because that's as far away from the next city as you can get on horseback. I look at the origins of that city and then I start to extrapolate. How did that city grow? How did it evolve? What technology was around to allow it to change, to adapt, and to become what it is? And then you start to fill in the blanks. These are pieces of information that you literally walk through. The template is complete history. Why is it important to run through that history? Well, that's one of the places I start. It grew up. It didn't start as a metropolis, did it? Rome wasn't built in a day, so they say, and with good reason. It was built in 2.5 days because the contractors had a half-day vacation which had been built into the building expectation beforehand, except they hadn't bothered to tell anyone, and the plumbing pipes only arrived on Tuesday. So, beside that, the idea of this template is fairly straightforward. To fill it in, and once you've filled it in, you've now got this incredible resource that I suggest you come back. But the vignette, of course, is where you are going to walk down that street, describe everything that you can think of. Are the streets cobbled, like in Helsinki, where they're these wonderful round stones? Are they hard concrete, like they are in New York? Do they have a raised beveled strip down the middle, as they have in Tokyo? What makes that space that much different? It doesn't have to be pages and pages and pages of documentation. It can be, and I suggest it is, only 5 or 6 things that are different, that set it apart from somewhere else. If it's an elvish city, what makes it different from other elvish cities? Do they have to be different? Yes, they do. They started for different reasons. They grew up differently. They had different rulers who had their own footprints upon them. There are going to be differences. Architectural styles might be the same, but the layout might be different because there's a quarry in the middle of one of the cities, or because the city was built around the cusp of a very large breeding area for space whales. Who knows? You do. Anyway, the idea is 5 or 6 things within that vignette to just punctuate what makes this settlement different from any other. If you can add in your 5 senses, what does it smell like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? Is it in a cold, crisp environment? Is there a fresh bakery that can be smelled on the air? Is there a large windmill over there milling out flour so there's a dusty smell to the air? Tell me, what does your city feel, taste, smell, touch, sense like? and you've got an absolute winner. And this template really is where you should start almost any journey within World Anvil, certainly from a location perspective. It's really powerful, really, really wonderful way to create a wonderful starting point. Until next time, light up the forge.